Okay, so picture this. You're cruising through space, chatting with a talking, animated head, who's also a soul, no big deal. And he's trying to process his existence, your existence, and the meaning of life in a universe that doesn't make a lick of sense. Can you believe that's the setup for a show like The Midnight Gospel? I mean, who thought? Yeah, let's make a show where deep philosophical concepts meet outrageous, psychedelic adventures across dimensions. This show starts off like any normal animation, right? But trust me, you will not be prepared for the roller coaster of bizarre visuals, complex discussions, and outright absurdity you're about to experience. You think it's just a fun ride, and then bam, philosophy and existential dread hit you so hard, you'll be left thinking about the meaning of life while brushing your teeth. The main character, Clancy Gilroy, is this troubled spacecaster, basically a podcaster. But instead of talking about the latest celebrity drama or conspiracy theories, he's trying to find the meaning of life while talking to the dead. Oh yeah, that's right. He's on a quest through dimensions where he meets a mix of real philosophers, spiritualists, and even giant talking animals who want to talk about life, death, and everything in between. Let me just ask you this, though. How many shows can claim that in the first few minutes, you'll have a giant, talking lizard ask you deep, profound questions about life while you're also fighting some weird cosmic battle that makes no sense whatsoever? Yeah, it gets wild. But don't let that throw you off because, within all the weirdness, there's a ton of life lessons hidden under all that trippy animation. Can you believe Clancy's podcast guest list? He talks to a space fish, some talking skulls, and a giant head that just happens to represent his inner peace. Oh, and did I mention that these conversations, they aren't just fluff, they get real deep. Like, why do we even exist? Deep. What happens after we die? Deep. And just for fun, Clancy actively ignores every piece of advice the dead give him as he goes on his journey of complete self-destruction, while also having mind-bending adventures in a place that feels like Acid Trip meets Sesame Street. And here's where things get even wilder. The entire plot isn't just about Clancy's podcasting or the bizarre creatures he meets. It's actually about Clancy dealing with his own existential crisis as he tries to make sense of his failed relationships, his own inner struggles, and basically just how messed up he is as a person. So, while he's traveling the multiverse and learning from all these wise, dead entities, you're simultaneously watching him try to patch up the holes in his own life. The beauty of The Midnight Gospel is how it tackles death, consciousness, love, and the futility of it all, but in a way that somehow still feels warm. It's like you're talking to a drunk philosopher at a bar, but this one just happens to be floating in space. You can't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all, and also feel genuinely moved when you realize the characters are confronting their own mortality while they, try to survive being eaten by giant space monsters. Now, here's the thing. Clancy's journey isn't just wild for the sake of being wild. It's purposeful. The absurd conversations are the vehicle to help him and you look inward. The show is utterly surreal, constantly switching between strange dimensions, but it manages to layer these out-of-this-world discussions about life, purpose, death, and existence with deeply personal introspection. So, you'll laugh at the talking dogs or the rainbow farting unicorns, and then 2 seconds later, you'll feel like you've just been slapped with an epiphany about your own life choices. But let's talk about how deep this show gets. At first, you think it's going to be like a weird, quirky trip, and then boom. Out of nowhere, the show literally and figuratively smacks you with an existential question like, if you knew you were going to die, would you live differently? And you're just sitting there thinking, am I supposed to be laughing or crying at this point? The truth is, The Midnight Gospel is one of those shows that's either going to be your thing or totally not your thing. If you're the kind of person who loves getting lost in weird animation, big ideas, and wondering if we're all just part of some cosmic joke, then this show will blow your mind. But if you're just trying to watch a show to turn your brain off, this might not be your cup of tea. And that's totally fine. The wildest part? It's created by Pendleton, the genius behind Adventure Time. So yeah, expect everything to be trippy out of the box and totally emotional. It's like Adventure Time grew up, went to therapy, took some psychedelics, and decided to have an even weirder conversation about life. In the end, The Midnight Gospel isn't just a show, it's an experience. You'll be laughing your head off, feeling existential dread, and questioning everything you thought you knew about the meaning of life, and you'll probably be doing it all at the same time. Trust me, watching this show will be one of those experiences that changes your perspective. You'll leave thinking, am I living my life right? Should I be podcasting with dead philosophers too? Where do we go when we die? And do I need to be better at adulting?